All right, so let's get to our next guest. We have Carmine Gallo joining us. Carmine is an executive education instructor at Harvard University and the author of 5 Stars, The Communication Secrets to Get From Good to Great. And he also is someone that I worked with earlier in my career at CNN. So I'm very happy to reconnect with you, Carmine.
Nice. Many years ago.
Welcome.
It is so nice to be following Deepak because he talked about storytelling, which is part of my new book, 5 Stars. He's absolutely right. Leaders have a great backstory, and it's up to you as a leader to share that story. Plus, I feel so connected to you after Deepak. I feel connected.
It's one big web. We're
Yes.
we're blockchained leaders here
exactly.
at this table. So tell us, how do you go from good to great?
Well, I wrote 5 Stars because, especially now, in the age of globalization, automation, artificial intelligence, the ability to persuade people, to combine your ideas and your words, to win over hearts and minds is not just a soft skill, which is what I learned in journalism school many years ago. It's not a soft skill. It's actually fundamental to standing out, getting ahead in the workplace and in your career, but more importantly, for becoming that bold, transformative leader who actually ignites people's imagination and stirs souls and isn't just a leader based on title or experience, but somebody who you actually want to follow and you actually want to take that hill with somebody. That requires communication and persuasion.
And what's interesting, though, these days is the communication, to me, depends a lot on the different mediums. So we're talking face-to-face, but we also have social media. We have email. We have texting. We have AI. We have machine learning. We have voice now with different, whether it's Siri or Alexa. So many different ways that we're communicating both with humans and with machines.
Right.
How do you manage that? Are there different ways that you communicate depending on what kind of communication channel you're using? Is the tone different?
Here's the best part. The best part is that we already know how to do it. The formula for great communication and persuasion was handed to us by a really smart guy about 2,000 years ago named Aristotle. The brain, our tools have changed, but the brain hasn't. So the way we process information, the way we communicate, the way the brain likes to absorb information has not changed at all. So when Aristotle said, if I want to persuade another person, if I want to change their hearts and their minds, and if I want to motivate and convince them, I need to have 3 things. I need to have ethos, which is character, credibility. I need to have logos, which is logic. I need to convince you by using a logical argument backed by data and facts. But regardless of social media today, I cannot persuade, and this goes back 2,000 years, I cannot persuade anyone to change their mind if I cannot connect with them emotionally. And that's why the whole idea of storytelling is so important.
Right.
Because stories inform and educate, and that's how we connect with people.
So I have a question for you. What in all your training and education that you do for leaders, as far as gender is concerned, I've heard that as a woman, you have to work to project strength, but you automatically project warmth. And it's the reverse for a man, that he has to work to project warmth, but he automatically projects strength. Have you noticed that? What have you seen in terms of what are the secrets for me as a woman versus you as a man in terms of being a good communicator?
I think some of the parallels are often the same. I think in business today, we do an absolutely terrible job of getting information across. We don't connect with people on an emotional level. So whether you're male or female, the stories have to come across. And many of the leaders and the professionals who I interviewed for 5 Stars are female. They're not only do they bring the tech and the science and the data and the information, but they also are great storytellers as well. That combination is absolutely irresistible. So I've got chapters in there about people like Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg, who is a magnificent storyteller, and she has the data to back it up. Melinda Gates is the same way. In fact, Bill Gates has said of Melinda, she's a better storyteller. She's got a computer science background, but she's a better storyteller than I am. So that data and story, that connection is absolutely irresistible when it comes to leadership.
What's your number one tip for someone that struggles with this, who is a leader despite having challenges with communication and wants to get better?
Start watching. Watch transformative leaders who are great persuaders and great speakers. Beginning in 2006, we now have TED Talks that are streamed online. TED has some of the greatest public speakers of our time. And now you can watch them for 18 minutes at your fingertips. You can go back to 1984 on YouTube and see old presentations of Steve Jobs, who was a magnificent storyteller. So I would start by watching and learning what is it that great speakers do, great persuaders. Best of all, it's at your fingertips for the first time.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
Make sure to check out the book, 5 Stars from Good to Great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us, Carmine.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.